There is a specific, heartbreaking pattern that plays out in the lives of millions of smart, capable, kind-hearted people. It is a mystery to their friends, it is a source of exhaustion to their families, and it is a source of deep, secret shame to themselves. It is the pattern of the person who walks into a room full of stable, available, healthy partners and feels absolutely nothing. They go on dates with people who are kind, people who call when they say they will, people who ask questions and listen to the answers, and they come home and say, there was no spark, they were nice, but boring. But then, they lock eyes with the one person in the room who is emotionally unavailable, the one who is volatile, the one who has a storm cloud hanging over their head, the one who is a walking red flag, and suddenly, they feel it, the spark, the chemistry, the magnetic pull. They feel like they have finally met their match. The world goes technicolor, the anxiety kicks in, but they mistake it for excitement. They tell their friends, I've met someone different, this one understands me. But 6 months later, the script is exactly the same as the last time. The crying at 2 a.m., the frantic text messages asking, are you mad at me? The breakups and the makeups, the feeling of walking on eggshells, trying to manage someone else's mood so you can feel safe. They look in the mirror, exhausted, depleted, and older than they are, and they ask themselves the same desperate question. Why does this keep happening to me? If you are this person, you probably tell yourself that you are just unlucky in love. You tell yourself that all the good ones are taken. You tell yourself that you just have a big heart and you love too deeply. But psychology tells us a harder, colder truth. You aren't a victim of bad luck. You are a volunteer. You aren't accidentally stumbling into toxic relationships, you are subconsciously seeking them out. And the reason isn't because you are stupid, it isn't because you are weak, it isn't because you don't know better. It is because, to your nervous system, peace feels like boredom and chaos feels like home. Tonight, we are going to look at the machinery behind this choice. We are going to look at why you run from safety and run toward the fire, and we are going to find out how to break the spell. To understand why we choose people who hurt us, we first have to talk about the chemistry of the roller coaster. We often confuse anxiety with chemistry. We think that the feeling of a knot in our stomach, the inability to eat, the obsessive checking of the phone is passion. But biologically, healthy love is very simple. It is driven by oxytocin and serotonin. It feels warm. It feels steady. It feels like a slow-burning fire in a hearth. It makes you feel safe enough to sleep, safe enough to work, safe enough to be yourself. But toxic love is a drug. It is driven by dopamine and cortisol. When you date someone inconsistent, someone who texts you back instantly on Monday with love-bombing emojis, but then leaves you on red for 6 hours on Tuesday, your brain enters a state of high alert. You are anxious, your cortisol spikes, you are scanning for danger. What did I do wrong? Are they leaving? Then, suddenly they come back. They apologize. They give you a crumb of affection. They tell you you're beautiful. Your brain releases a massive flood of dopamine. The relief is euphoric. It is the best feeling in the world, precisely because the pain before it was so bad. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It is the same psychological principle that makes slot machines addictive. If you pulled the lever on a slot machine and you won every single time, you would get bored. The predictability would kill the thrill. If you pulled the lever and you never won, you would eventually walk away. But if you win sometimes, if you never know when the reward is coming, if the pattern is unpredictable, you will sit at that machine until you have lost everything. The toxic partner is a human slot machine. You are addicted to the maybe. You are addicted to the high of turning a no into a yes. You are addicted to the moment of rescue when they finally decide to be nice to you again. And compared to this high, a healthy, stable partner feels boring. When you go on a date with a nice person who is consistent, your brain doesn't get the cortisol spike, so it doesn't get the dopamine rush. The water is calm. But because you learn to swim in a hurricane, you look at the calm water and you think, this isn't love. There is no intensity here. You interpret the lack of anxiety as a lack of chemistry. You say, there's no spark. But what you really mean is, there is no danger, and without danger, I don't know how to feel love. But let's go deeper. Let's look at the repetition compulsion. This is Freud's term for the human drive to repeat our past traumas in an attempt to fix them. The subconscious mind is timeless. It doesn't know that you are 30 or 40 or 50. It is still trying to solve the problems of the 5-year-old you. If you grew up in a home where love was conditional or where a parent was critical, distant, volatile, or addicted, you learned a very specific blueprint for love. You learned that love equals earning it. You learned that love equals walking on eggshells. You learned that love equals self-abandonment. When you meet a healthy person who loves you just as you are, it feels wrong. It feels like a foreign language. It doesn't fit the blueprint. Your subconscious mind says, "This is too easy. I don't trust it. What do they want from me? When is the shoe going to drop?" It feels unearned. And to the trauma survivor, unearned love feels like charity. But when you meet someone who treats you like your difficult parent treated you, your subconscious lights up. It says, "Aha, I know this game. I know the rules of this game. I know how to play this." You choose the toxic partner not because you want to be hurt, but because you want to win this time. You are subconsciously trying to take the parent who rejected you, put their face on a new partner, and finally get them to love you. You think, if I can just fix him, then I am worthy. If I can just make her stay, then I am enough. If I can just explain myself one more time, they will understand me. You are trying to rewrite the ending of your childhood, but you are trying to do it with people who are incapable of giving you the ending you want. You are going to the hardware store looking for milk, and you are surprised every time they don't have it. This brings us to the archetype of the fantasy of potential. This is the trap of the intelligent person. You aren't dating the person in front of you. You are dating who they could be if they just went to therapy, got a job, stopped drinking, and dealt with their childhood trauma. You see their potential. You see the glimpse of the good person underneath the chaos, and you fall in love with that glimpse. This is often a projection of your own savior complex. Many people who date toxic partners identify as empaths. They say, "I feel their pain. I can help them." And while this empathy is beautiful, it is often a mask for codependency. If you are a fixer, you likely grew up as the parentified child. You were the one who had to manage your parents' emotions. You were the marriage counselor for your mum and dad. You were the one who had to be the peacemaker. You learned that your value comes from your utility. You only feel safe when you are needed. A healthy partner doesn't need you to save them. They just want you to be there. And that makes you feel useless. It makes you feel invisible. If you aren't fixing a crisis, who are you? You choose the broken bird or the bad boy because they have a hole in them that is exactly the shape of your need to give. Their chaos gives you a job. It gives you a purpose. As long as you are busy fixing their life, you don't have to look at your own. As long as you are chasing them, you don't have to sit still and feel your own pain. The toxicity is a distraction. It is a way to outsource your internal chaos onto an external project. But there is another childhood archetype that gets trapped here, the egoist. This is the child who learned to have no needs. Maybe you had a narcissistic parent who took up all the oxygen in the room. If you had a need, it was seen as an inconvenience. If you cried, you were too sensitive. So you learned to echo the needs of others. You learned to make yourself small so they could be big. As an adult, you are drawn to toxic narcissists because they take up all the space, and that feels comfortable to you. You know exactly how to exist in their shadow. You know how to pivot around their moods. You know how to apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. A healthy relationship requires you to take up space. It requires you to say, "I want" and "I need." And for the egoist, that is terrifying. So you choose the tyrant because the tyrant forbids you from having needs, which saves you from the terror of expressing them. And then there is the shadow projection. This is the darker, more hidden reason. Sometimes we choose partners who act out the parts of ourselves that we have repressed. Maybe you are the good girl or the nice guy. You are responsible, you are polite, you never get angry, you always do the right thing. You pay your taxes, you call your grandma, you follow the rules. But deep down, in your shadow, there is a part of you that is angry. There is a part of you that is wild. There is a part of you that wants to burn it all down. But you aren't allowed to be that way. The good child conditioning is too strong. So, you date someone who does it for you. You date the rebel. You date the narcissist. You date the person who breaks all the rules, who speaks their mind without a filter, who is selfish. You get a vicarious thrill from watching them be the monster you are too afraid to be. You get to be the victim of their behavior, which allows you to feel morally superior. "I would never do that," while still getting close to the fire. You are outsourcing your rebellion. This leads to trauma bonding. This is a specific biological attachment that happens in abusive or toxic cycles. It's not just sticking together through hard times. It is a cycle of abuse, rescue, gratitude. First, they hurt you, they criticize you, ignore you, or scare you. Your nervous system goes into freeze or fawn. You feel worthless. Then they rescue you. They offer a moment of kindness. They hug you. They say, "I'm sorry, I'm just so damaged." Because they are the source of the pain and the source of the relief, your brain bonds to them intensely. It's the Stockholm Syndrome mechanism. You become grateful to them for stopping the pain that they caused. And this bond is harder to break than a healthy bond. A healthy bond is based on choice. A trauma bond is based on survival. It feels like you cannot breathe without them because biologically, they have hijacked your survival instincts. And then there is the terror of safety. This is the hardest truth to swallow. If you have a history of trauma, safety feels dangerous. In a chaotic home, the calm was usually the moment before the storm. It was the moment before the yelling started. It was the eye of the hurricane. So, your nervous system is wired to view peace as suspicious. When you are in a healthy relationship and nothing is wrong, you start to panic. You are waiting for the other shoe to drop. You feel restless, you feel bored, your skin crawls. You start to pick fights just to break the tension. You create drama just to get the adrenaline release. You sabotage the happiness because the anxiety of waiting for it to go wrong is worse than the pain of actually making it go wrong. You choose the toxic partner because at least with them, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. You know how to survive a fight. You have a PhD in crisis management, but you don't know how to survive a quiet Tuesday night where someone just holds your hand and asks you how your day was. Intimacy is terrifying. Chaos is familiar. So, what is the cost? The cost is your life force. The cost is that you spend your best years managing someone else's dysfunction instead of building your own destiny. The cost is physical. Your body keeps the score. The chronic cortisol leads to autoimmune issues, exhaustion, anxiety, and premature aging. The cost is that you erode your own self-trust. Every time you stay with someone who mistreats you, you are teaching your brain, "I am not worth protecting." You are actively abandoning yourself. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to leave, because your self-esteem is being whittled away to nothing. And the tragedy is, you think you are fighting for love. You think that the intensity of the pain is proof of the depth of the love. You think, if it hurts this much, it must be real. But pain is not a measure of love. Pain is just pain. A relationship should not be a battlefield. It should not be a rehabilitation center. It should be a sanctuary. So, how do you break the cycle? It starts with a period of detox. You have to accept that you are an addict. You are addicted to the cortisol/dopamine loop. And like any addict, the withdrawal is going to hurt. When you stop dating toxic people, you will feel bored. You will feel empty. You will feel a lack of spark. You will feel like the color has drained out of the world. You have to reframe boredom. You have to realize that what you call boredom is actually peace. You have to learn to sit in the quiet without setting the house on fire just to feel the heat. You have to learn that a boring evening is a good evening. You have to do the work on your inner child. You have to go back to that little kid who learned that love equals earning. And you have to tell them, you don't have to work for this anymore. You don't have to dance for your dinner. You have to learn that you are worthy of love, not because of what you can fix, but because of who you are. You have to stop falling in love with potential and start falling in love with reality. Look at who they are today. If nothing changed, would you stay? If the answer is no, then leave. You cannot date a future version of someone, and the next time you meet someone and there are no fireworks and there is no panic and there is no sudden urge to chase them, don't run away. Stay. Lean into the discomfort of safety. Give your nervous system a chance to recalibrate. It will feel weird at first. It will feel quiet. But eventually, you will realize that the spark you used to chase was just a warning flare. And you will find that real love isn't a roller coaster that makes you scream. Real love is a slow, steady climb. It is the feeling of solid ground beneath your feet. It is the feeling of finally, after all these years, coming home to yourself.